Can you imagine how green spaces and trees in the cities bring a favorable and admirable environment for human beings? However, urbanization intensity and industrialization are contributing to the less chance of having more green spaces and trees in the cities. Today I'm going to share you one of the interesting story about how green spaces as well as trees help to solve public health and environmental pollution issues. This is all about New York City. Back in the 19th century, the New York City had only 7 trees. So the situation caused to increase the environmental pollution and public health. But eminent physician Stephen Smith initiated the movement to plant more trees. He noticed that there was a correlation between the city's high temperature and childhood deaths from the several infectious diseases. He concluded that planting street trees could mitigate oppressive heat and save 3,000 to 5,000 lives per year. To promote street tree planting in his city, Smith drew attention to what became known as the Washington Elm Study, which states 7 million trees would cover a surface of 20,000 square meters. In 1873, Smith drafted and introduced his first bill to the New York State Legislature for the establishment of Bureau of Forestry, which would promote the cultivation of street trees. But the bill stalled. It took several additional attempts and amendments before it was finally approved in 1902. So in 1897, Smith joined a group of citizens who decided to take matters into their own hands. The city encouraged residents living on the block to collaborate on planting decisions. In 1857, the City Council decided to establish New York Central Park, spent more than a decade and cost $10 million USD. The New York Central Park architect was Frederick Law Olmsted, and the superintendent was Calvert Vaux. Using the power of eminent domain, the city acquired 3.4 square kilometers located in the center of Manhattan, spanning 4 kilometers from 59th to 106th Street and 0.8 kilometers from 5th Avenue to 8th Avenue. In the process, a population of about 1,600 people who had been living in the rocky, swampy terrain, some as legitimate renters and others as squatters, were evicted. Included in this sweep were a convent and school, bone-boiling plants, and residents of Seneca Village, an African-American settlement of about 217 people, which boasted a school and 3 churches. But as a result of this payment, Central Park provides great ecological and environmental benefits to the city. Its more than 18,000 trees cool and clean the air, and its vast acreage in the center of the city provides habitat for wildlife, including a stopover on the Atlantic Flyway for over 200 species of birds. New York City isn't the only city who is combating with climate changes. There are many countries and nations which are combating with the climate change by expanding green spaces and trees. By 2030, many countries are aiming to plant billions of trees, like China, 70 billion trees. Canada is aiming to plant 2 billion trees, Pakistan, 10 billion, New Zealand, 1 billion, and Mongolians are aiming to plant 1 billion trees. Why is that so? To combat climate change and for biodiversity conservation is one of the best ways to plant more trees in the cities. Planting trees presents a tremendous amount of benefits economically, environmentally, and socially in the cities. For example, one large tree can release up to 2 meters cubic of water vapor in the air per day. absorb up to 14% of the airborne particulate matter, present urban heat island effect by up to 2 to 8 Fahrenheit, supporting biodiversity up to 25% of the city bird species, contributing to ecological richness of urban environments. From an economic perspective, urban trees can increase property values by up to 20%, energy savings for up to 50%, ecosystem services worth $500 per tree per year, to provide an annual value of up to $2.4 billion in air pollution removal. Also, shoppers were willing to pay up to 12% more for goods and services in tree-lined commercial areas. In terms of social well-being of the city, 75% higher likelihood of residents engaging in outdoor activities. Also, there is a 7% decrease in reported crimes for every year. 10% increase in tree canopy cover, reduced stress level. We have more and more great examples and cities who are aware of expanding their canopy of trees to enhance their social well-being and protect the ecology of the city. For example, Singapore implemented the city in garden to decrease the urban heat island effect and pollution. As a result, the green cover in Singapore increased from 36% in the 1980 to 50% in recent years. In Copenhagen, Denmark, through extensive urban greening initiatives, Copenhagen has transformed into a more sustainable city with over 40% of its land area dedicated to green spaces. The city has seen a reduction in carbon emissions, improved air quality. In terms of Portland in the US, the city focused on urban forestry and green infrastructure has led to a significant increase in tree canopy cover and green spaces. The city now benefits from improved air quality, better stormwater management, and enhanced biodiversity. But in Curitiba, Brazil, emphasizes on urban greening that has transformed the city into a model for sustainable development. The city now boasts an extensive network of parks, green corridors, and public spaces that have mitigated flooding, improved air quality, and recreational opportunities for residents. Also in Melbourne, Australia, the city invested in urban forestry and green infrastructure by receiving benefits from improved air quality and urban heat island effect reduction. UK and London established over 300 hectares of green roofs in the city that reduced surface water runoff by over 2.5 million cubic meters. London has over 8 million trees. See, we have many great examples how to enhance and protect our environment in the cities. I believe this video gave you a notion of motivation to increase the trees number in your cities. More trees for healthy cities. Bye now.